There are people amongst us who have an intimacy with violence they can't give back. Through sport, profession, or circumstance, they've left their old selves behind. This is a show where we interview those who either forcibly or willingly see the world through hardened eyes. We invite you to travel along with us as we talk with violent artists, violent professionals, and survivors of violent circumstances, as we find out how they have redefined violence. So we're here today with Brenda Castillo, owner of Enzo Jiu Jitsu, a black belt in Jiu Jitsu. Welcome, Brenda. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
So when I look at a black belt, whenever I meet a black belt, I see like the road that you've been on for pretty much an entire lifetime.
It's forever.
Yeah, it's forever. And it's never ending. That's the cool thing about Jiu Jitsu so what comes after black?
Well, then you have to go through the stripes, the degrees and all that. And then you have like all the belts are up there.
Yeah.
The goal is to get to red.
The goal is to get to red. Yeah, and I see jiu-jitsu as a road, as a long road, whether you're white, blue, purple. It's just where you are on the road that all of you travel. And someone like you takes people along that road. What's that like?
It's a never-ending journey.
How do you like seeing your students progress?
I love to see my students progress. Like they come in here and they come in like super shy, very timid, uncomfortable because of the unknown.
Yeah.
And then just little by little, they just have like a kid, for example, comes in crying, not wanting to come in at all, like literally kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
And then like within a week or two, they're just suddenly speaking, being very confident, like just outgoing. We're like, wait, weren't you that kid who walked in 2 weeks ago crying, not wanting to train?
Yeah.
So I love to see that.
And you get to see kids progress and adults progress too, right? As well. It's like it brings us out of our shell almost. So I view jiu-jitsu and kind of the way that I started doing it, it was a physical manifestation of what was going on in my head. You know, so at the beginning, I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu to learn. I was just coming in to get crushed over and over and over. But I started to realize I can just tap and reset and everything's fine. No matter how, as long as you got a good training partner, as long as everything's good. So it was a metaphor for life for me. Like, you know what? I can just reset and keep everything going. And when did you, so you're the owner of Enzo, right?
Yeah.
When did you realize that jiu-jitsu was going to be more than just your weekend hobby or your Tuesday and Thursday hobby, where you realized you were going to make not a career, but a living and thrive off of it?
If I'm being honest, I never did. Yeah. So my first passion obviously is, I'm a hairstylist. Okay, so I did that forever. And I went through some personal things in my life. And then that's when I like switched over to jiu-jitsu. That's how I got into jiu-jitsu, like to get my mind off of things, right? And it just became a hobby. But then I slowly got pushed into like teaching and like being in charge of the front desk and all that stuff. So I guess that's when I just knew. Like I didn't care. People would come, my clients were like, hey, do you have time for a haircut? Hey, do you have time for a color? And I'm like, Jiu-jitsu was then like, it just became my priority, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess that's when it kind of like that transition.
So there's a point where it started to consume you and it wasn't
I became addicted to it.
You became addicted. And most people do, a lot of people do that end up training. It becomes when am I going to do it again? And you start to live and breathe all this stuff. So you had that moment. You can't really pinpoint it, but you did have that moment where you're like, you know what? I'm leaving my day job behind.
I left hair. I left it.
You left it? Did you own a business too?
Yes, I had a hair salon.
So you left the business to start another business. And that's what people don't really get the chance to see sometimes and hear stories like yours where you were already a business owner and you took the leap of faith because of something like jiu-jitsu to start your own business, start another business, excuse me.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, well, congratulations with that. So how has training jiu-jitsu kind of improved your confidence as a person overall, like in your day-to-day life?
It just gives me confidence overall. I am a mom as well. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I know that if I go to the stores or I'm out late at night with my kids, like I'll be able to defend them or take care of myself and them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It helps me teach others as well and give them that confidence that they need as well. Because I have a lot of moms in our school.
that's another question that we ask is, have you been able to introduce anybody to it? Obviously, owning a studio like this, that is what you do. You introduce people into this world. That's an amazing thing. So what are the type of students that you get? Like, do you get different walks of life, different professions that come in?
Yeah, students from all different walks of life, different professions. I have a lot of moms, a lot of teachers, a lot of law enforcement officers.
For law enforcement, it's a big thing. They've got to be able to manipulate. They've got to be able to understand their confidence on the ground and standing up. So have any of them reached out to you and said like, hey, you know, coach, I was able to do this or that?
Yes. I used to feel very intimidated because I am not a law enforcement officer, but I do have a lot of knowledge, right? So I'm able to share that with them and they're able to use that at work.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're sharing life-saving knowledge in the form of being able to manipulate someone's body. I mean, that's pretty cool. And that's the art of jiu-jitsu. You know, if you manipulate someone, you have control over them. And it's a violent way, but it's a less threatening way to their life overall. You know, if you know how to take care of someone when they're on the ground, you know, and subdue them and give that officer time for backup to arrive. Yeah, and moms too. Like you were talking about confidence and being able to walk just in general, especially for a woman, especially whatever size, whatever, stature, for a woman to have that confidence, no matter who they're around. I think that's a pretty big deal and a pretty amazing thing. I have sisters and siblings and cousins and nieces that I want them to train jiu-jitsu so that they're no longer afraid of just existing in a space or existing at the supermarket, you know? So that's pretty amazing. So the name of the show is Redefine Violence. And what we're doing is we're going around interviewing people like yourself that train violent arts, and eventually we'll interview people who work in violent professions and have survived violent circumstances. So when you hear Redefine Violence, what does it mean to you?
It means let's make violence great again.
Let's make violence great again. You heard it here first. Let's make violence great again. So what do you mean by that?
I think that it's important for all students, whether it's kids or adults, to know that it's okay to be violent in certain situations.
Yeah, to have the knowledge and understand that it's not necessary for them to use it all the time, right? Yeah. It's just, if they're ever in a situation that requires them to use it, they have the knowledge versus not have it. It's one of those better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it situations, right?
Yes.
So tell us about Enzo Jiu-Jitsu. Tell us where you're located. Tell us what, your main class hours are for anyone in the area, because we are going to promote it here locally, can come and check you out and meet with you.
All right. Enzo Jiu-Jitsu is here in McAllen off of 10th and Martin. We have 5 a.m. classes. We have 6 p.m., 7 p.m. classes. They can follow us on Instagram, YouTube.
YouTube? Oh, you're on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you do instructional videos on YouTube?
We're on that.
Okay, we're getting there. I got the guy for it. He's right here. He's going to come film it for you. Thank you guys for watching, and we welcome you to Redefine Violence. Boom. Cool. All right. Yes, that was good.